Hey, welcome to my channel. Please like this video and subscribe. It's your support that keeps me going and helps me make more content you'll love. Ready to join the community? Thanks for subscribing. In the quaint Japanese town of Senjo, the tale unfolds with Saka, a skilled swordsman, honing his blades and preparing to unleash his sinister side. The town is under the iron grip of Kumigami, a formidable crime lord who commands the dreaded Yakuza syndicate. A servant updates Kumigami on recent events, only to face his wrath as the enraged boss rips the servant's mouth apart. Amidst this chaos, Saka storms into Kumigami's residence, embarking on a relentless killing spree, cutting down every Yakuza member in his path. Hearing the uproar, Kumigami frantically attempts to flee. One of Kumigami's elite fighters confronts Saka, sparking a fierce battle. The fighter lands powerful blows, but Saka seizes a moment to sever his opponent's hand. Meanwhile, Kumigami, holed up in a room, fumbles to load his gun, but his efforts are in vain. Saka reaches Kumigami and swiftly ends his life, single-handedly dismantling the Yakuza in one blood-soaked night. As Saka prepares to depart, a surviving gang member takes aim at him. Before the shot can ring out, Saka's longtime partner, Fajita, emerges and neutralizes the threat. After years of collaboration, Fajita questions Saka about his desire to retire following this final mission. Saka affirms his decision, weary of bloodshed and yearning for a tranquil existence. Upon returning home, it's revealed that Saka has a devoted wife and daughter, Ryo. His hidden motivation for abandoning his violent past, kept secret to shield them from harm. While unwinding after a shower, Saka is alerted by odd sounds. Stepping out to investigate, he discovers masked intruders in his home. Their leader, concealed behind a mask, commends Saka for eliminating the Yakuza, but declares that to secure total dominion over the city, Saka must now be eliminated. Saka resists, desperate to protect Ryo, but halts when he realizes his family is at risk. The masked assailants brutally beat him. His wife pleads for their daughter's life, only for one of the intruders to shoot her dead on the spot. Saka watches, powerless as she collapses. Saka's life collapses in an instant. His wife and daughter lie lifeless before him, their deaths a brutal spectacle. The assailants aren't finished. They shoot Saka in the head, presuming him dead, and manipulate the scene to frame him as the perpetrator. A crazed father who slaughtered his family before turning the gun on himself. The media spins a tragic tale of domestic madness, and the truth is buried deep. 12 years pass before the revelation. Saka is alive. The bullet failed to kill him, but it robbed him of mobility, leaving him paralyzed. For over a decade, his loyal friend Fajita has sheltered him in secret, entrusting his care to a single attendant. To the world, Saka is a ghost. Meanwhile, Senjo has transformed under the rule of Tsunohara, now the city's mayor. In a polished TV interview, Tsunohara vows to reimagine Senjo as Mahaba, a glittering haven of clubs, theaters, and casinos. A bold journalist challenges him, pointing to escalating crime and questioning his sudden rise to power after the Yakuza's collapse. She claims to possess evidence of fraud and murder tied to Tsunohara's ascent. Furious, he shuts down the interview. That night, the journalist meets an informant, trading a wad of cash for damning proof. As she prepares to leave, a masked figure emerges from the shadows. She bolts, but he overtakes her, ending her life in a swift, silent strike. Nearby, another masked enforcer coerces an innocent bystander into staging his own death, further smothering the truth. At the same time, Saka's caretaker wheels him outside for air. As they return indoors, a man lunges forward and drives a blade into Saka's hand. The attacker is a specter from Saka's past, the fighter whose hand he severed years ago, now consumed by vengeance. He leaves Saka bleeding and broken. Rushed to the hospital, Saka is guarded by two officers until their corrupt superior, Shinojuka, arrives. With a bribe, he dismisses them and enters Saka's room, masked and armed with a syringe primed for murder. Saka's foggy mind sharpens. He knows this man. Shinojuka was present the night his family was torn apart. Defying his frail, paralyzed state, Saka summons a surge of resolve. He locks his arms around Shinojuka's neck and strangles him, ending the threat. Hours later, Fajita arrives, stunned to see Saka not only awake but moving. With halting steps, Saka walks free, his strength creeping back. The faces of his family's killers remain a blur, but their masks are etched in his mind. As memories cascade, his body responds, reclaiming its former power. The man the world declared dead has risen once more, The narrative pivots to a grim factory where young girls are coerced into packaging drugs under the watch of Ikeniko, a ruthless overseer. Simultaneously, another faction abducts women, forcing them into illicit trades. Their leader, Emma's, orchestrates a sprawling trafficking network. Both Ikeniko and Emma's, along with their associates, don distinctive masks, symbols of their allegiance to a shadowy, malevolent syndicate. Fajita, privy to the drug operation, resolves to intervene. He sets his sights on Ikeniko's factory, primed for action. But in a shocking twist, Fajita appears to betray Saka, knocking him out cold and delivering him to the enemy. They haul Saka inside, discarding him in a heap of refuse as if he's worthless. With his task complete, Fajita slides into his car, poised to vanish. Yet Saka was never truly unconscious. It was a ruse. Once inside, he erupts into motion, tearing through foes in a savage brawl. Outside, Fajita prepares to flee with an accomplice when a security guard takes a call. Moments later, the guard draws his weapon and opens fire. Fajita's companion is struck and crumples, dead instantly. Fajita retaliates, killing the guard, but not before taking a bullet himself, leaving him wounded. Inside, Saka carves a bloody path through the factory, unstoppable. His primary target, however, has slipped away. Ikeniko, clutching a remote, smirks and presses a button. The factory detonates in a deafening blast, engulfing everything in flames. Convinced Saka has perished, Ikeniko savors his triumph. But from the rubble, Saka rises unscathed. Before Ikeniko can react, he levels a gun at him. Suddenly, a car screeches into view, Fajita at the wheel. He fires at Ikeniko, wounding him, but takes another shot in return, slumping in pain. Staggering from the vehicle, Fajita collapses before Saka and confesses. He was the one who betrayed Saka's family, sealing their fate. Pleading for mercy, he finds none. Saka executes him without hesitation. Turning to Ikeniko, still clinging to life, Saka drags him to a hidden spot, binding him tightly. He begins a brutal interrogation, desperate to unmask the true puppet master. Ikeniko remains defiant, refusing to break. Then his phone buzzes. The stakes escalate as Tsunohara reveals a chilling truth. Saka's daughter, Rio, is alive. He's kept her hidden, but warns Saka that her life hangs in the balance if he doesn't cease his vendetta. The scene shifts to Rio, now a young woman, raised by a sinister figure named Emma's. He's conditioned her to see him as her father, his gaze laced with unsettling intent. Rio's past is a void, her mind warped by his control. Elsewhere, a retired cop, Takigawa, steps into his home to find Saka waiting. Desperate for answers, Saka presses Gawa, who hands over photos exposing a corrupt security agency jailing innocents under the pretense of protection. Convinced Rio might be held at Shinjo's security facility, Saka storms in, dispatching guards with lethal precision. His hunch proves right, Rio is there. But when their eyes meet, she recoils in fear, a stranger to her own father. Saka uncovers childhood photos of her, a fleeting joy piercing his hardened shell. Then Emma's enters, hand twitching toward his gun. Spotting Rio, he opts for words instead. Saka, done with deception, unleashes a brutal assault on Emma's. Mid-beating, a tremor in Emma's voice sparks recognition. This is the man who killed his wife. Fury surges, but as Saka moves to end him, Rio intervenes, loosing an arrow that grazes Saka. Emma seizes the moment, hurling Saka through a window. Before he crashes, Gawa swoops in, pulling him to safety, a debt repaid from when Saka once saved him. As they speed away, Tsunohara's voice crackles through a call, demanding Saka face him at Maharo to save Rio. Armed and resolute, Saka arrives only to be swarmed by foes. He fights with raw ferocity, fists, blades, bullets, until Emma joins the fray. Saka blinds him, gouging an eye, leaving him writhing. Racing upstairs, Saka finds Rio still wary. "I'm your real father," he pleads, but a sneak attack from behind cuts him short. Captured, they're dragged before Tsunohara, who's tired of games. Sword in hand, he prepares to slay Rio as Saka watches, helpless. Gawa bursts in, guns roaring, mowing down enemies. Saka shouts for Rio to flee. As she hesitates, watching him battle, memories flicker. Her father's face, the gunshot from her childhood that struck her toy, not her. Truth dawns. Tsunohara orchestrated her family's ruin. Rio escapes as Saka, fueled by his wife's memory, unleashes hell. Gravely wounded, he faces a masked assailant, Ongdu, while Tsunohara observes, regret shadowing his features. A revelation strikes. Tsunohara and Ongdu are brothers. One a kingpin, the other a shadow. Sokka realizes Tsunohara led the assault on his family. Rage propels him into a weakened clash. Tsunohara severs Sokka's hand, but he retaliates, shattering Tsunohara's blade and striking him down. Collapsing, Sokka's end nears, until Emma's reappears, gun blazing. He shoots Sokka, crowing that Rio is his. With his dying strength, Sokka ambushes Emma's, ending him, then embraces Rio as he fades in her arms. A week later, a twist unravels. An interview features Tsunohara, until the mask lifts, revealing Ongdu, who survived to claim his brother's throne. Justice lingers unfinished. As Ongdu basks in triumph, Rio steps forward, bow drawn. An arrow flies, piercing him, avenging her kin at last. The tale concludes. This film gripped you? Hit subscribe for more.